Hello, hello everyone, and welcome back. It is now time to see who's going to be the champion of the NGS Heroic Division. These are the two top teams battling it out for that first place spot. Now, it is going to be potential Scrim Thursday, who we watched earlier today, get a 3-0 against the #1 seed Inting for Globes. Now, if you take a look over at the standings, these are two teams that were together. 1 point separating a Solid School and potential Scrim Thursday. And I think that's going to make things quite interesting. And now, look at the playoff bracket that both of these two teams have run through as well. It was potential Scrim Thursday, like I said earlier today, 3-0 Boomer Gaming and 3-0 Inting for Globes to get into this final spot. And then for a Solid School, they went 3-2 versus Blue and the Beta Males, and 3-2 versus Rodney's Imaginary Friends. So they had a full 5-game series for every single series that they played in the playoffs, whereas potential Scrim Thursday haven't lost a single map yet. So it's kind of opposite in that regard. Going to be interesting to see which of these two things kind of ended up going through here. Give me one moment here as... Yeah, okay. Either way, and then with the map picks as well, we've already finished those out. But it is going to be first pick selected for a Solid School. So map pick went over to potential Scrim Thursday. And it was going to be Infernal Shrines and Garden of Terror. Banned away by potential Scrim Thursday. And Dragonshire and Tomb of the Spider Queen. Banned by a Solid School. And the first map, which was banned on the first series of the day, is Battlefield of Eternity. This is going to be the big fighting map. This is where every single team will try to just absolutely brawl it out. And because of that, it is one of my favorite maps. Now we have all 10 members in the game today, so should be a pretty close one here. We should be getting started at any moment as well. And again, before we do get started, I just want to give a huge shout out to the NGS community as a whole. For anyone that is new here, for some reason you're already here at the start of the stream, want to watch this game, you can also join it. We do take players of every skill level. All you gotta do is find a team and you can compete. We take everyone from bronze all the way to the heroic div, which is what we're going to be watching now, which are master and grandmaster players, primarily anyway. And yeah, it's free to join. No entry fees, nothing like that. So if you're looking for a fun but competitive environment, nexusgameseries.org. And yeah, just get started right away. But either way, the ready checks are starting to come out. And frankly, this is going to be a very, very interesting final here. I mean, we've already seen from potential Scrim Thursday, they are very strong as a team. And they're very strong overall just as players as well. Same with the Solid School. Now, Solid School has always been a very solid roster, but I don't think a lot of players expected them to make it to the finals. So I would say that they are a little bit of an underdog, but by no means are they completely out of it. They were definitely deserving of that top 4. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. They deserve to be at least in the semifinals. But making it all the way here, making it all the way to the end, how far can they push it? We're going to find out very, very soon. But first few pick and bans already coming through. Vala getting a banned away by a Solid School. Joanna banned by potential Scrim Thursday. And the Hanzo to follow the Vala ban on the right side. And interestingly enough, they are getting rid of a lot of DPSs. Meanwhile, for potential Scrim Thursday, a lot of very different players coming out for this series compared to the first one of the day. And they do have a 9-player roster. So they do have a lot of players that they can constantly rotate in and out. And from this morning's game, they did swap in C10 for HD1 and Jaykosh Shlu. So they're going to have those two players in today. But for now, it's going to be Uther locked in for Jägermeister and Li Ming locked in for C10 for HD1. As Hogger is going to be locked in for the offlane for Mundane Zebra. Now, one thing to note is Jaeger has played Uther earlier today as the main tank. They did run the double healer composition with AoE rules on the Tyrande. So that is definitely possible. It's not necessarily a healer. It could be main tank Uther coming out from PST. And they've played it a lot in the past too. So I'd be more surprised if it is main healer instead of it being the main front line. But on the other side of Solid School, they're also going to lock in Garrosh for a huge slot and Chromie for Azuriel. And, I mean, that's going to be a lot of poke damage. Hogger and Chromie should both be very solid picks here. A lot of control will come out from Hogger, whether it's the Hortipole just being able to get into the backline, being able to get on top of that Li Ming, or if it's the Shockwave, just getting that big AoE stun on the front line. This Hogger is definitely going to be very solid and very difficult to teamfight into. And Chromie as well, with that range, will be able to DPS quite hard. But one thing that Potential Scrim Thursday definitely have an advantage on so far, at least, is the race potential onto these Immortals. Li Ming is incredibly strong at it, deals so much damage, and can deal it from a distance. So it doesn't necessarily need to get in that auto attack range, doesn't necessarily need to be in a dangerous spot in order to get it to succeed. But it is going to be that Lucio banned away by Potential Scrim Thursday, and also the Greymane from the first phase. I think I did kind of skim over that, but very strong racing hero as well. And Lucio and Tyrande banned away in that second ban phase for both of these two teams. Just trying to get rid of those healers. But Imperius is going to get locked in for J-Kosh Loop. And the Anduin for Computex. So there it is. It is going to be that double heal composition. They already have a bit of a double front line as well. Neither one of these is a true tank. And I believe Imperius did get made a little bit squishier with this last round of changes. Like I said earlier in the day, I'm not really sure to the extent that Imperius was changed. There was way too many changes for me, and as someone who doesn't really play Imperius, kind of a bit difficult to see the gravity of it without seeing it in action. But what is available this time around that was banned away every single game against Ending for Globes is Oriole. Will be locked in for the Cure, and then Tyka's locked in for Jazz. Pretty interesting looking at this team comp for a Solid School, because it looks like a perfect Infernal Shrines team comp. But it's not going to be Infernal Shrines. It's Battlefield of Eternity as the last pick, going to be Artanis for Shoopuf. And I've seen Shoopuf play Artanis a few times at this point. I believe they picked it against Boomer Gaming in the quarterfinals and was able to get something like 400 stacks in 18 minutes. Just absolutely insane. Really like the Protectors of Aiur talent. We'll see if they do go it this time around, but either way, the draft is done and it's time for us to head into game number 1. All right, and here we are. We are on Battlefield of Eternity between Potential Scrim Thursday and a Solid School. This is a best of 5, and it is the grand finals of the NGS Heroic Div. And this is also the final series of NGS Season 19. We're hitting that big 2-0 for that next season, which I believe should be starting just a bit after summer. I believe registration opens in the summer. I'm not sure the exact dates, but we'll find out soon. And be sure to join the Mead Hall next Sunday. But either way, both teams going to start grouping towards the bot side. I'm still waiting to see what this talent's going to be. I have a feeling it is going to be the Protectors of Aiur. That is something that Shoopuf has really liked. And yeah, there it is. Protector of Aiur are going to get chosen. So they definitely want to start brawling it out as Mundane Zebra and Shoopuf pretty close to each other. But actually, immediate first blood. Jägermeister just going to get absolutely burst down. But huge slot could be getting traded back and will be able to land it. And now, immediately after, Azuriel and the Cure both starting to get really low. The face swap not going to be able to come out. As again, another Celestial Charge going to land. But with the Hog Wild, Mundane Zebra going to be able to just back away safely. So 1-for-1, First Blood does go over to Solid School. I don't think it actually matters at all. But we'll have to see. Next season scheduled to start August 11th. Well, there you go. So everyone be ready. Near the end of summer, that's when we're going to have Season 20 beginning. But so far, it is pretty even. Slight XP lead going the way of Potential Scrim Thursday, but now J-Kosh Loop going to get thrown into the backline, but will be fine. Gets knocked into the wall with Detainment Strike. But with the double healer composition, it is going to be very difficult to take down anyone here, unless they're able to get the one-shot like they did onto Jägermeister. But I mean, already 32 stacks on Protectors of Ayer for Shootpuff in the top side, 51 stacks on Silver Touch. Just really showing how fast they can stack these up. But C10 wasn't a dangerous spot. Celestial Charge does land on it too, able to land it again, and with a Chastise, Huge Slot gets super low, but they don't have enough damage to finish it off. Still chasing C10, not going to be able to land it, but in the meanwhile, they're going to be able to take down Jaykosh as Huge Slot still trying to fight, still trying to back away. C10 trying to chase onto this Garrosh, but they're just not able to find a Mundane Zebra. Also can't really help too much. They will land the stun. They will still not be able to finish off. Okay, now this Garrosh does go down. C10 will eventually be able to get this kill. But I mean, it buys a lot of time. Jazz still shoving out this bottom lane. In the end, it was still a 1-for-1 trade. So the total score is 2-for-2. But potential Scrim Thursday, upon rotating to the top side after that kill, they're also just going to collect the siege camp. They're in a perfect spot to do so. Kind of makes that rotation a little bit more worthwhile. It will get answered on the bottom side for a solid school. But potential Scrim Thursday, because they all ran up, they also got themselves that kill just in order to try it out then. But either way, right now, Shootpuff did rotate down for a little bit, but the Immortals are going to be spawning in 15 seconds, and both sides just collecting their bruiser camps. There's a little bit of fighting happening down here. Jaykosh starting to get a little bit low. Celestial Charge will land, but just going to be there to kind of buy a little bit of time, try and be back in a safe position. Bruiser camp going to get locked in for a solid school, and potential Scrim Thursday will be able to finish it off themselves very shortly. And now the racing has begun. It looks like they're mostly DPSing onto the blue one, as Huge Slot is going to be the target for most of this damage, but Wrecking Ball just going to get used to peel away Jaykosh from the rest of the team. And now Mundane Zebra also in a good spot. Will get hit by the Celestial Charge, but immediately canceled out. And now Jaykosh and Jägermeister starting to get pretty low. And Jaykosh going to go down. Computex did try the Leap of Faith, but unfortunately the HP bar was already at 0. And because of that, a solid school, they're going to get in a solid position. They're going to be able to take down this Immortal and get it right back down to half HP. So halftime going to get started already. Potential Scrim Thursday, they still have the overall lead in terms of experience though. But this spawn is going to be difficult to defend into. Wrecking Ball already been used. They have the Unstoppable, the swap not going to be coming out yet. Shootpuff almost able to get it, but unfortunately will not be able to land it. Now C10 for HD1 is going to come back and is going to just start DPSing, but it's early game. So the damage isn't that high yet, but the mana costs still are. And now the Hand of Justice does land. Huge Slot just trying to stand in the front line. The Chastise will land as well, but they don't have any DPSs here. They don't have anyone that is ready to follow up. So this first Immortal going to be going the way of solid school. But at the very least, potential Scrim Thursday, they were able to get some damage onto the Immortal before it landed. Now taking a quick look at the quest, Silver Touch has already been completed. As now Shootpuff going to get Wrecking Balled into the backline, but will just be able to use that Twin Blades to jump backwards. So decently solid shield coming out here from the Immortal, but they're not going to be pushing in with it. They're just going to let potential Scrim Thursday deal a little bit of damage back to it for now. But now Zuriel and Jazz both just DPSing over the wall, trying to get as much damage done to it as possible. And this entire wall will definitely be going down here. And that's typically what you want, at the very least, from the first Immortal. Take down the wall and get as much damage as possible to the floor. But instead, they're looking towards Shootpuff. And already the slowing stands are going to be there. Shootpuff trying to buy a little bit of time. Hand of Justice will be there on top, but Shootpuff still not able to get away. Will be able to run out with just 300 HP left. Has the reset available, so won't be going down. But again, still huge pressure coming out from a solid school. Because they were able to press Shootpuff away, that's going to be them being able to take this siege camp. It's going to be free for them. There's no one that can contest it. As now they're looking towards Computex. Unstoppable is there, but Body Block's coming in and just needs a little bit more damage. But Jägermeister able to heal up the Anduin. And again, Computex is going to survive, and those flash heals will be able to get Computex back to full. But because they went in onto that fight instead, Shootpuff is going to be back here, will be able to start contesting onto it. Twin Blades is going to be there, but it's not enough. But Mundane Zebra has rotated down, able to knock C10 for HD1 into the wall, but it doesn't matter. They're able to take down the Tychus, and now they're still following on. They will lose the siege camp. The Cure was able to secure that, but it is a 1 kill going over to PST. And now both sides, they're pretty evenly matched still, both in the score and in the experience. But the structures still favoring a solid school. They don't have any forts down yet, but they are definitely ahead in terms of the structural HP bars. But now Hog Wallet has already been used. That's going to be that main escape. Chastise gonna get dodged away, but Jake Arshlu and C10 for HD1, they're all here. Budding Zebra doesn't really have anywhere to go. Use the stagger blow, just trying to buy time for that cooldown. And it's starting at super low. The Hog Wallet is back up and will be able to escape. Perfect timing. Mundane Zebra with a fancy feat, just trying to prevent anyone from getting that lockdown and DPS chain. And in the end, with that staggering blow, with just being able to dodge out on the Chastise, buys more than enough time for the Hog Wallet to be back up and be able to run back to safety. But now instead, they're looking for the Celestial Charge, not going to be able to land. Leap of Faith is there. Suppression Pulse does land onto 3, but they don't have any follow-up for this play. And now Jazz almost gets swapped back by Shupov. Would definitely have been a very dangerous spot, as a time trap is getting ready there on that top side. They're looking for the main tank. Garrosh starting at pretty low, and they have the Storm coming out as well, but with the main tank's already gone. Now Zero gets stunned up in the back line, and another Celestial Charge lands, but the follow-up isn't there. C10 for HD1 going to be the next target, but instead they're going to be able to bring it back on a Mundane Zebra. Azuriel still trying to run away. Jake Arshlu will land the Celestial Charge and will get the final auto. It is going to be a 3-0 in favor of potential Scrim Thursday. And now they can start DPSing onto this Immortal. I don't know if they'll have enough damage to get it back to halftime, because they used all of their mana and all of their HP during the fight. But they do have the level 11 advantage. They do have half the level lead. But they also lose their top lane wall due to this siege camp in the top side. Now both sides are just going to be DPSing onto these Immortals. So this next fight is going to be what decides who ends up winning out on this objective. The score is 6-3 now in terms of kills, but the Bruiser Camp also going to get finished off by a solid school. And again, the swap not going to be there. Jägermeister gets thrown into the backline. Celestial Charge as well on a huge shot. Suppression Pulse lands onto 4 this time, but the taunt is already there. Jake Arshlu gonna get slowed through the slowing stance as well. And Jägermeister now going to be the target in the front line. But the Divine Storm not going to be used. Still 3-second cooldown left. But with that, potential Scrim Thursday, they are going to be able to get the inside track. They are the ones that are DPSing onto this Immortal. 3.5 HP left, but Mundane Zebra going to get stunned up, and just a chain stun, getting that kill. Curse of the Angiers, able to find on its way onto a 0, but it's not going to be enough. Divine Storm lands onto 3 as well, and instead they're going to take down Jazz. They're going to take down this Chromie. And another 2-0 in favor of potential Scrim Thursday. Whenever you have those chaotic fights, that's where potential Scrim Thursday shines, and that's where they're able to win out in these matches. And now with that, they're going to have the push in the bot lane, but the Bruiser Camp almost taking out the entire fort on the top side, and in fact will be able to win it out. The Suppression Pulse even gets used by Shupov, but it is a little bit too late. So overall, despite losing 5 kills and the objectives, a solid school, at least so far, have won out on the map play. But the real question is, what can potential Scrim get here with this aggressive play? They've already gotten the wall. The shield is still available, but Jägermeister gets stunned up into the wall and is taunted, is still staying alive, but not enough HP. Even with the double heals, it's just not going to be there. Now they have all 5 members. Mundane Zebra still standing at the front, and the swap is going to be there, but the Unstoppable is there. Crystal Aegis is going to get used, and Leap, unfortunately, they are on the opposite page. The Light Bomb not going to be able to land, but the Immortal still dealing quite a bit of damage to this fort. Not going to be able to finish it off, but just 1 hit off. So potential Scrim Thursday, especially with the Li Ming, could definitely come back to clear it away. And they do have the level 13 advantage right now, but because it's 4v5, they're just going to give away this bottom siege camp. And once again, a solid school able to get it. In fact, looking over at the XP totals, the mercenary camp lead is pretty heavy for a solid school. They've still been getting it off cooldown every single time. And now the face swap is going to land onto huge slot, and they're able to hit the suppression pulse onto all 5. They're all blinded. Jake Arshlu coming in from behind as well, but Mundane Zebra with a staggering blow going to be able to keep this Imperious off of their back line. And again, this bottom fort is so low for potential Scrim Thursday, but it's also super low for a solid school. And now the Bruiser Camp is going to be pushing into the bot side. Just needs 1 more auto, and they will be able to take it down. Shupov still standing in the front, could be looking to fish for a kill, but not going to be able to find it quite yet. But now with this, the Immortals should be spawning decently soonish at this point. as in the top side, Mundane Zebra is going to be able to secure this siege camp. But the rest of Potential Scrim Thursday, they're on their way, but they're a little bit too far behind as we do get a pause. Hopefully it's not too long, but it does seem like there is a DC. So hopefully we'll be able to get back into the game shortly, and considering the ready check has already started, we will be back in game immediately. So there we go. This is as long as all pauses should take. But yeah, I mean, we've seen some very long pauses in the past. Luckily, this was just a few seconds. And in case, again, if anyone's wondering why he swapped away, as I'll explain it later, the taunt is going to be coming out. The swap on a huge slot, but Shubov just trying to deal damage. Jaykosh going to be pulled back. Leap of Faith going to keep them alive, but the Shockwave on a Jägermeister. Divine Storm will stun them up, but Jägermeister still going to go down. Now Computex and C10, Mundane Zebra just jumping into the back line. And now they have the Leap of Faith. They have everything else. Mundane Zebra starting to get low. Suppression Pulse will blind everyone else. The Overkill still deals damage, though. It is an ability as Computex gets thrown to the backline with the Wrecking Ball. And now the swap has come through. Shubov just trying to DPS onto the backline as much as possible. Gets the extra shield, but it's a 3-for-1. A solid school able to win out that team fight. And now they have the push happening in the top side, and they have first move onto these Immortals. Now, Potential Scrim Thursday, they will be back out on the map once halftime does come through. But it's still going to be a massive HP disadvantage. And this is the spawn where you should be able to defend against any kind of aggression on your Immortal unless you lose the fight, which is exactly what happened. Now halftime is coming through. Shubov, last one to respawn, is going to be back out on the map. But Potential Scrim Thursday, they still don't have the positioning that they need. And with that, a solid school, they're also going to get started on their Bruiser camp. And we can see a repeat of what happened last time. Potential Scrim Thursday, they did end up winning the fight, but this Bruiser camp just slow pushing the entire time in the top side. It means that they are on a timer. And typically Potential Scrim Thursday, they don't mind. They're an aggressive team. As right now, we are even seeing that a little bit. The Unstoppable is there. The taunt onto 2 huge slot is going to get stunned up. Divine Storm as well, but the Crystal Aegis going to prevent the follow-up. So a lot of big cooldowns used there. The Warlord's challenge is already gone. The Crystal Aegis is gone, but so is that Divine Storm. One of those big teamfight abilities. But most importantly right now, very quickly, Azuriel is shoving out in that top side, getting those waves shoved in, and Hogwild going to prevent that Celestial Charge from Jaykosh Slew. As again, Computex going to get thrown to the back line, and Suppression Pulse going to blind everyone else. Is still surviving. Lots of healing coming through. Curse of the Anguirus, though, has been able to find Jazz. And again, the stasis is there, but 80 HP. Surely there's nowhere there's Chromie can go and will get taken down. And now Huge Slot is going to be the next target. Already down super low, but has that 40 armor. Detainment Strike from the Cure, going to be able to buy some space. As now Mundane Zebra and Azuriel could be the 2 next targets. Hand of Justice as well into the stun, and C10 with the teleport damage is going to be able to get that kill. Azuriel starting at super low as well. Detainment Strike not going to be able to land. And once again, it is kind of that same spot as, oh no, Jaykosh Slew got interrupted by the Immortal. And because of that, not going to be able to reset. So Computex may have to be the one to defend. Now Crystal Aegis Part 2 is going to get used, and Huge Slot will be alive. Warlord challenge used as well as Shubov is the one to go down. Now C10 for HD still trying to deal damage from behind the lines, but starting to get low on mana. And despite how the winning fight did go over to Potential Scrim Thursday originally, they just don't have the damage to take down these Immortals. The double healer composition just lacks it a little bit. C10 needs to both fight and be on the objective at the same time, and it's impossible to do both. So because of that, a solid school, they're going to have the inside positioning. They're going to be able to take down this Immortal, and they're the ones that are going to be pushing instead. And in the meanwhile, look at what happened to their top side. Exactly as the last time they fought for the Immortals, those Bruiser camps just absolutely shredding through the structures of Potential Scrim Thursday. And a solid school, they're just in such a strong position right now. They will be able to clear out this bottom fort, no question about that, but Mundane Zebra could be answered in the offlane. Jägermeister looking for the Hand of Justice, will be able to land it, and now they have the stun as well. Divine Storm and the Chastise, just everything burned, making sure the Hogwild couldn't come out. But in the meanwhile, a solid school, they're continuing this push. This bot lane wall is already almost gone, but Jaykosh Slew has a very good flank in the backside. Looking for the backline, looking for the cure. And the blind is going to land. They have the extra stun over the wall as well. And Huge Slot going to be unstoppable, so not even going to be able to bring them back. But now Zuriel going to get caught by the curse of the NGS and will get taken down. So it is 2 kills total going to potential Scrim Thursday. But look how much they're losing in terms of their structural health. In fact, if they're not able to DPS this enough, oh, if that was an auto, I think they do lose that keep. Luckily, that Immortal was going for the stomp. But still, it's a 2-for-0 play for potential Scrim Thursday. But both their keeps are in extremely low health. If a Solid School get one more teamfight victory, they could definitely look to start ending the game instead. Now, they will trade siege camps top to bot side. But it's starting to get very scary for PST. They need to get a big teamfight victory for these next Immortals. Otherwise, they're going to be in a very dangerous spot. Now, they are looking to secure this Bruiser camp, and they do have the level advantage for now, at least. It's not super high. It is still less than a quarter lead, but it is there, and it is going to be noticeable. They're not going to be behind on level 20s, and if they're able to get their Storm Talents and get full advantage of them, maybe just force a fight as soon as they get it, they could be right back into this game. But a Solid School, they haven't really been giving them too many angles for that. Every fight the potential Scrim Thursday has won has mostly come from a fight that a Solid School wanted to take, where even if they lose, they still end up getting the advantage on the map. And now the Bruiser camp going to get secured by a Solid School, so they will have that pushing through the top side as well. Which also means that depending on where potential Scrim Thursday decide to play here, if they're able to push this out, if they're able to kill these Bruiser camps, they will be in a much better spot shortly. But Mundane Zebra trying to hold the bot side, but is aware that potential Scrim Thursday, they could be looking for Mundane Zebra here. But Azuriel's there, a huge slot has already caught them out as well. And now the Hog Wallet is going to be there, but look at the damage! Mundane Zebra just immediately going to get taken down. And now the Warlord's Challenge is there and immediately will take down Jägermeister the Blind. Does land onto 4. But it's just going to be the 1-for-1 offlaner for main tank, sort of, on potential Scrim Thursday. One of the frontliners is going to be gone. And again, the Bruiser camp for a Solid School so far being the MVP. And J-Karshlu has to go back and deal with this. Otherwise, they do lose their keep. There's no question about it. And even with J-Karshlu here, it's still going to be difficult. They're even going to send Shoopuf just to absolutely make sure he gets cleared away. We're at 265 stacks of Protector Revier. So Shoopuf starting to get quite strong here in these team fights. But again, a Solid School, they're going to have the first move onto this Immortal. They're going to be able to bring us into halftime. And Huge Slot is in the backline, going to find Computex, going to throw them into the backline. But Light Bomb is going to be there. But Warlord challenge instead. Azuriel caught in the curse of the Angiers. Do they have the follow-up? No, not yet. Huge Slot going to be able to save them with into the fray. And now Suppression Pulse lands on 2-4. Once again, J-Karshlu with the Celestial Charge. The Cure is starting at pretty low and will get followed up. And it is a 1-for-1 trade so far. C10 for HD1 does get finished off in the backline. Shoopuf still trying to auto on a Huge Slot and will be able to just win it out. As Computex is still fighting in the front line, but Shoopuf going to be here as well. And look at the damage coming out from Shoopuf. And now the stun into the wall. And just like that, they're going to lose the Imperius. And Shoopuf still standing in the front line, trying to DPS, will be able to get the swap. And they do have the stun, but it's just not going to be enough. As the Leap of Faith going to get used onto Shoopuf to kind of pull them back out. And it is a teamfight victory for potential Scrim Thursday. It's a 3-for-2. But do they have the damage to take this down? The Artanis does have a decent amount of auto attack damage just because of the 317 stacks now. And actually, they're the ones that bring the halftime over. But again, they have to worry about this topside. The topside push is definitely starting to come in. Light Bomb was used, but unfortunately, Mundane Zebra did have the staggering blow, so we'll be able to just dump them into the wall. As now Mundane Zebra and Jazz trying to DPS onto these Immortals. It is going to be a bit of a race. Shoopuf and Computex, they just don't really deal damage to it. That's the issue. Their team composition isn't really good at the race, but they have Suppression Pulse, which will buy them a little bit of time. Jägermeister is in the area as well, just trying to soak up some of this DPS. Level 20 on everyone so far, and this is going to be close, but I do think a Solid School, they will... No! Potential Scrim Thursday, they're the ones that are able to get it. So now they have the Immortal pressing in for them. And because of that, they can go back, they can clear away these minions. They still took some damage onto their keeps, but nowhere near as much as they could have. And with that, if this Immortal is strong enough, there's barely any wall left here, even though there's basically no shield, and with that, the shield is going to be immediately gone. They may still be able to take down this fort. We are at 21 minutes, So this Immortal is really strong. Suppression Pulse gonna get used into the backline. Lands onto 4 technically, but Huge Slot does have the cleanse available. And now in the meanwhile, Mundane Zebra actually goes down over the bot lane trying to take that keep. So Shootpuff gonna get another 10 stacks on a Protector of Ayer. And they will be able to even out the structures there in the top side. The health definitely still favoring a Solid School in terms of their structures, but in terms of the passive push and the passive XP, though I guess at this point it doesn't really matter, it will now be tied. As now a Solid School, they're looking for the Bruiser Camp, but it is 4v5 on the map. This could be an opportunity for potential Scrim Thursday to just try and fight it out. And they love fighting onto this as now Azuriel going to immediately get thrown to the backline. Divine Storm does land. Curse of the Anguirus is going to bring back this the main tank, but unfortunately everything else is ready for it. And now the Cures is going to be the one to get taken down. Huge Slot starting to get low, but they are going to be able to trade it right back around. But that's still going to be 2 kills going in favor of potential Scrim Thursday, 2 for 1, as they do manage to steal the Bruiser Camp, and now they can start sieging. They are missing the Imperius. They are going to be missing one of their main engages, but they are still going to be available to try and push this in. The main tank and the healer both missing right now from potential Scrim Thursday. They're also missing their main engage, and when you have that Li Ming just dealing as much damage as possible from a distance, there's nothing a Solid School can really do about it, unless Mundane Zebra is able to find an incredible angle. But at that point, they just have more than enough DPS to remove Mundane Zebra off the map entirely. And interestingly enough, they're going to pop the Odin on Azuriel for this defense, while a big chunk of their wall does go down in the top side, thanks in part to that Bruiser Camp. Bottom side Siege Camp gonna go over to PST as every member has respawned. It is going to be 5v5 on the map when these Immortals are activated. Right now, Solid School, they're in position first. They will be able to start that DPS before potential Scrim Thursday will. And it's just going to be... Oh, wait, sorry. They are completely flipped around. Both sides actually playing slow. Now, Bruiser Camp is going to get collected by potential Scrim Thursday here on the left side. So they will have that passive pressure helping. And because of that, they're actually the ones that are going to be first on this Immortal. They're going to be able to get a decent amount of damage. Shootpuff already at 362 stacks. Really starting to hurt. Even onto these objectives. And C10 for HD1. As always, this Li Ming so good at racing. Definitely doesn't scale quite as much as the Vala. But already down to a quarter HP onto this Immortal. They can just keep playing back. Just keep throwing those spells over the wall. Mundane Zebra looking for a staggering blow. Not going to be able to find it. Arcane Orb just landing over the top as well. And a Solid School, they will need to go at some point, because they're being pushed in through the bot side. In fact, Jazz going to go back just to help clear it away a little bit. But that's just going to give the halfway point for free over to potential Scrim Thursday. That's 25k damage dealt almost entirely by the Li Ming there. And now it's going to be the opposite side. So if both sides just full DPS, potential Scrim Thursday should definitely have the advantage for it. Not only are they there first, but they already had it at halftime. Jagar Shlu even going to be popping that E, just trying to get more DPS done onto it. So it's going to be another Immortal in favor of potential Scrim Thursday. And we're already at almost 25 minutes. These Immortals are going to be quite strong. Massive shield this time around. They were still able to get the fort last time with no shield at all. Now it's going to be about 80% of the shield available. And they're there to protect the Immortal upon spawn. They don't need to clear their ways as they do get the Celestial Charge looking over into the back line. Light Bomb does land on a 3. And now Curse of the Anguirus, Wrath of the Anguirus is going to be there. Azuriel in the back line. Divine Storm not going to be able to land. But it's a 3 for nothing so far. And the Cure has nowhere else to go. A couple more hits and that'll be it. It's a 4 for nothing. And I think that's it. Potential Scrim Thursday, they should be able to just clean up the game here and now. Mundane Zebra going to be coming in from the backside, just trying to clear away. Maybe try to backdoor, but I don't think this is going to happen. It's a 5-man strong team. They have the Immortal as well. And Potential Scrim Thursday, despite being behind for most of the game, they're going to be able to bring it back, and they're going to be able to take it all the way home. Potential Scrim Thursday continue their undefeated streak in the playoffs as they win game number 1. Yeah, I mean, that's as close a game as it gets. 26 minutes. A solid school. They had those keeps so low the entire time, but just were never able to come back and finish them. I think if they had just that little bit more DPS on those keeps, if they were able to get that passive pressure, it would help them out so much. It definitely could have been the game changer, but that's the way this game goes sometimes. Sometimes it is just about those few inches, those little extra bits of damage that do add up in the end. In Potential Scrim Thursday, they win game number 1. Now that being said, we're going to go to a short break, but when we come back, it'll be game number 2. Don't go anywhere. Hello everyone, and welcome back. We are here for game number 2, and we are going to Brax's Holdout. We are going from a series that had mostly macro-oriented maps to 2 games in a row of some of the most brawly centers that Heroes of the Storm has to offer. And it is going to be Brax's Holdout. 1-0 lead right now for potential Scrim Thursday. But first pick does go over to a solid school this time around. As the losers, they were able to select that for themselves. And a lot of teams do favor that first pick, as it does seem to bring a lot of value to these teams. As now instead, it's going to be the Garage banned away. So they want to make sure that huge slot is not going to be able to use that. A lot of big plays, that Warlord challenge especially, just catching out so many players earlier on. As I am taking a quick look, and no substitutions have been made on potential Scrim Thursday. I have seen earlier on someone did ask where DH Bob is. DH Bob did play in the first series and is around. So the entire roster is here. They are basically ready to go. And in general, potential Scrim Thursday is a 9-player roster. So they could potentially start swapping players in and out as we head further into the series. But only time will tell, and right now they're playing quite well together, so may feel like they don't even need to. But now the other two bans are going to be the Joanna banned by PST and the Imperious banned by a solid school, with Chromie being the first pick, except this time it's locked in by Zuriel instead of Jazz, though as we all know could get swapped around later. And now Chromie is very good for Brax's Holdout, is very good on defense. You always want that long range mage on Braxis, because if you ever lose the Zerg once and you don't have someone that can clear the backline, that's basically just checkmate for you immediately on. But Uther gonna get first pick for Jägermeister, and Junkrat gonna get locked in for Shupuff. And the Junkrat does kind of fill that long range mage role, especially once that level 10 is there. The Riptire can absolutely shred through those Guardians in the backline. And again, I do suspect this will be a double healer composition coming out from potential Scrim Thursday, as Muradin and Anduin gonna get locked in for a huge slot and the cure. Now this does mean they have a pretty simple light bomb combo just with that Dwarf Toss coming in from Muradin, but we'll have to see how they do decide to play with it. But almost definitely that's going to be the play. It's going to let them play aggressively. They also have the Chromie just being able to deal a ton of damage over top. And I believe Azuriel went unraveled in the last game. I'll be honest, there was so much action, I was never really able to look at the talents beyond just looking at that Protector of Ayer stack. But it is going to be Dahaka banned away by potential Scrim Thursday, trying to remove that offlane presence. Now on Braxis, it isn't quite as powerful as it is on other maps, but it's still definitely ban worthy. Brightstalker is still super strong, just being able to join the fight. Even if you're only there maybe 3 to 5 seconds earlier, those 3 to 5 seconds will absolutely change the course of the fight. And for that same reason, a solid school, they're going to ban away the Brightwing, just removing that big healer, removing that phase shift. It's going to make things a little bit harder for the offlaners. But what's interesting to me is Genji is still available, and Genji is very good on Braxis. I believe Mundane Zebra does play it, but it looks like potential Scrim Thursday, they're going to lock it in themselves. Diablo locked in for a C10 for HD1, and Genji locked in for Compute X. And Genji is very powerful on this map just because you want to be able to win both top and bot side at the same time. That's the only way you can get Zerg on your side. And Genji can rotate between those two lanes extremely quickly, extremely effectively, just being able to jump over the wall, have that extra dash, and bring in a ton of DPS to whoever is in that offlane. Now it's going to be Jazz locked in, or Cassia locked in for Jazz, sorry. And then Rexar locked in for Mundane Zebra. Now Rexar is very solid in the offlane, very strong, very difficult to move away. And with that extra heals onto Misha, just a lot of damage, or a lot of HP that potential Scrim Thursday will need to get through. But I'm interested about this Cassia pick. Typically you see it when you have blinds to play around, but this time around they don't really have anything to kind of help that Cassia with those blinds. But instead, final pick, it's going to be Kira or Shupuff, as Jaykosh Lu is going to be on the Junkrat. And it does seem like Azuriel is going to stay on the Chromie and Jazz is going to be on the Cassia. Another very interesting draft, though this time around, I think I do favor Potential Scrim Thursday. As I also just realized Jägermeister is main heal on that Uther. Well, either way, we got game number 2 set up, so let's head right in. All right, and here we are, game number 2 between Potential Scrim Thursday and a Solid School. Potential Scrim Thursday currently leading 1-0, but that first map was incredibly close. Solid School had the lead for most of the way, but Potential Scrim Thursday just able to chain a couple big fights together to be able to retake the advantage and eventually the game. But can they do it this time around? Can they win out just on their own? We'll have to see. The Solid School definitely not going to just let them win this time around either. And interestingly enough, I had a feeling it was going to be, but it is the auto attack build coming out from Jazz. And this auto attack build does need some time to scale. I don't think you get range until level 13, maybe level 16 on Cassia. But once you do, you're able to deal so much damage. Especially with those bounces, you can just DPS onto the front line. It's going to be split among everyone. As now Computex is in the backline looking for some DPS, but not going to be able to find too much. The deflect will help prevent the damage backwards. As now Jazz is going to get thrown into the backline. C10 for HD1 going to get blocked. Huge slot, able to land the Storm, but Computex still chasing, just needs a few more hits. And that will be first blood going the way of Potential Scrim Thursday. Just able to chase down Jazz. And now they're looking on to Azuriel, but the stun's going to be there. Same with the Chastise. Hand of Justice on a huge slot now. As the Dragon's Breath just dealing so much damage to the backline. J-Karshlu starting to get low, but Jägermeister going to be able to keep everyone healthy. Everyone's going to be okay. As in the meanwhile, Computex is going to rotate up to the top side. And Computex and Shoopub, again, this is why the Genji is so strong on this map. Just able to move from one side of the fight to the other. Just across lanes and getting both sides ahead. And now Jazz is back and it gets stunned up into the wall with the Shadow Charge. And it isn't Lightning Fury, so though I don't expect that to really deal a lot of damage. But what is going to be a little bit scary for Jazz is playing this Cassia in melee form into a Diablo is going to be very difficult. And I say melee form because those auto attacks are very short range until later on into the game. Now a little bit of anti-synergy there as the Hand of Justice does land and immediately blown away by the concussion mine. As they do retake control, but a Solid School, they're still able to get 22% beacon progress. Now Potential Scrim Thursday, they're the ones in control. Computex with the deflect, able to bring a little bit of the damage back. C10 for HD1 looking for Jazz. As now Computex is in a bad spot, but will be able to just dash away. But C10 going to be the next target. Jazz will be rooted up. And C10 will be able to walk away. But again, the beacon's now going to be in favor of a Solid School, as they have control of both top and bot side pretty handedly, I might add. The Siege Camp is dealing a little bit of damage over the bot side. I didn't even realize they managed to get that for themselves. And now Shoopub still going to be standing on the point. Computex is going to be here as well. They're looking to take down Misha and should be able to, as they're also able to retake control of the topside beacon. And now Computex is rotating back from behind the team. C10 looks towards Jazz. And now they have the Shadow Charge into the wall, but Leap of Faith going to keep Jazz alive. There's now a lot more damage just coming out from behind the wall. C10 still in a good spot, looking towards Huge Slot. And again, the Dragon's Breath just absolutely melting them in the backline. This isn't even the Dragon's Breath build, by the way. This is just Azuriel being able to land every single skill shot. But now Computex is in the top side once again, looking towards Mundane Zebra, able to dash through and will be able to take down this Rexar. So once again, it's 84% for a Solid School. So they're going to have a solid amount of Zerg no matter what at this point. But Potential Scrim Thursday, they're going to be able to at least be able to bring some of it back. And they have a pretty significant level lead now too. Almost a full level ahead. Now it hasn't come through for any talent leads yet, but it's only a matter of time if they're able to hold on to the status quo. As now Jazz going to be targeted by Computex as well. Starting to get super low, blind and concussion mine as well. And that's going to be all that's needed. That's going to be another kill over in the bot side. It's Potential Scrim Thursday. They're finally going to be able to retake control onto these beacons, as both sides are getting ready to get the Zerg spawning. And Potential Scrim Thursday, they're pretty close to level 7. So with their Zerg push, they would also have the level advantage. That could be pretty big for them depending on how they want to play it. But it's going to be a difficult angle. Instead, Huge Slot going to get stunned up into the wall. Already 98%, and there it is. 100% favoring potential Scrim Thursday as Computex just trying to deflect a little bit of damage back. But now someone will need to deal with all of this. There's a lot of Zerg, but it is going to be just 2 Guardians and 2 Ultralisks in the front line, whereas 3 for potential Scrim Thursday. So quite a bit more pressure coming in from the blue side. The top lane wall is already gone, but at the same time, because of the amount of Zerg they have, potential Scrim Thursday, they do need to come back and fully defend onto it. They can't just let someone sit in the front. But they will still get the wall advantage on the top side. They will still get a little bit of a lead for themselves as they do have level 7s. They're also able to clear away the Zerg faster in the bot lane, so they can get a little bit of damage onto this wall. And now C10 looking for Azuriel, going to be able to find him, but no follow-up is available. They're all turning on to Misha instead. Shoop-up now going to be here. Could look for the play. Time trap was there. Azuriel gets hit so hard by the carnage. And just the damage coming out from Shoop-up is more than enough. So not only do they get the pick, they're also going to be able to steal away this siege camp. So pretty big wins coming out of potential Scrim Thursday. It's this time they don't want to give away that early lead, and they could even look to steal both these camps. But potential Scrim Thursday actually electing not to, and that's anyone that's been following this team knows how rare and how significant it is that they did not just continue their aggression. That has been the modus operandi of this team. They've just non-stop fighting, non-stop brawling. It looks like they really, really want this win today. But now, potential Scrim Thursday, they will go back and take their own camps at the very least. They'll have their siege camp, they'll have their bruiser camp go down as well. And again, they have almost a full level lead over a Solid School. They're in a really solid position. Now, Solid School will be able to take their bruiser camp, so they're not going to walk away empty-handed, but it is still 3-1 in terms of camps here. As now potential Scrim Thursday, they're already getting started on shoving out this top side. Now, meanwhile, they did land the chastise. Shoop-up going to be in a bad spot, going to try to get away, but there's just nowhere to go. But that's still going to be one pick-off leading to a kill. But potential Scrim Thursday, they're just going to straight up get this top lane fort. And they're going to get it so fast that if anything, they're going to be back bottom in time to defend for their bottom fort as well. Now, they will lose their wall, but now the next fight could be massive. C10 is going to be here first, just using that Fire Stomp, trying to get a little bit of damage onto this backline. And now they're aiming for Misha, and the stun is going to land, but it's just going to be onto the Diablo. And Misha is going to go down, and they are able to clear out these mercenaries. So potential Scrim Thursday, they did have to force their way back into it. C10 did have to trade a lot of the HP. But the most important thing is they are able to win out on the fight. They are able to keep their fort alive. Now the beacons are back up, and it looks like they're not even trying to go for the ones on the bot side because they know they have the positioning advantage. They can just start taking down this wall as well. And in the top side, they do have Shoop-up. And with that final strike, going to be able to deal a decent amount of damage over to the walls, just trying to clear out the waves and just trying to continue this pressure up over in this top side of the map. And they have level 10s as well. This should be a full 100% Zerg pushing in for PST as Computex actually going to get sent up. Chastise going to land as well, but the deflect buys enough time. So they will be able to finish off this bot lane wall, but the fort still remains strong. And I'm sure that's about to change because the Zerg are coming. The Zerg rush is going to be here. Computex, though, taking a decent amount of damage. Actually almost goes down. Sitting at around a 5th HP. And now all 5 members of a Solid School, they are coming down to this bot side to defend. And potential Scrim Thursday, they're not sending anyone up to the top side. They're just going to let it shove into them. And now final strike, again, just used for a poke. So much DPS into the backline. Computex, same. Just jumping into the backline, just trying to be a pain. Now, it is just going to be the one Ultralisk on the top side, so they could ignore it for a decent amount of time, as they still have 2 full HP Ultralisks. One that's starting to get quite low, but again, they're just able to get so much DPS onto the backline. Misha gets knocked over the wall, and with that, they're going to be able to take down the bear, or so I thought, but the bear actually going to be able to survive. Still going to be alive. Instead, they're focusing back onto Jägermeister, but the D-Shield is going to be there. Light Bomb from Jazz, not going to be able to land. Huge shot, aiming for the backline. In the meanwhile, Misha is going to go down, but the Guardians still DPSing, fighting into the Zerg. It's a very dangerous prospect. Computex jumping into the backline, looking for Mundane Zebra. X-Strike, gonna bring more than enough damage. Now Computex could still look for more, has the resets, but they're just going to play it safe. And now C10 actually going in instead. And they're looking for Jazz. Jazz starting to get a little bit low, but again, the healing is still there. The cure is in the area. Azuriel almost gets taken down by the final strike, but the damage just isn't quite there. So that's the bot lane fort and the secondary wall going down in favor of potential Scrim Thursday. They got themselves a few more kills on the way out as well. Now they're going to go back. They're going to take their camps, but they're in a really solid position. They're about to hit level 13 as well. And potential Scrim Thursday, when they have a level lead, that's when they like to fight for those enemy camps. However, their HP bars and more importantly, their cooldowns may not be in a position for it, but C10 already going to be positioned for it. Has the Fire Stomp, trying to stand. It will be able to get the stun. Now revolving sweep in the backline. Shoopuf going to get hit by the light bomb though. Now Shoopuf going to be in a very dangerous spot. Will be taken down. Misha going to get traded back by Computex. But the camp is stolen. Now how much more can they get? Riptire lands on 2-3. Computex is going to follow. Huge Slot just jumping into the backline versus J-Kosh-Lu. As now Jägermeister and C10 both trying to get away. Both are decently low. And C10 will go down. Jägermeister was fighting against Huge Slot. And a little bit of an overstay coming out of potential Scrim Thursday. That was a 3-0 in favor of a solid school. All for one camp. But that one camp will also be answered, or at least attempted to. Everyone from potential Scrim Thursday, they are trying to run in. D-Shield is available, but they're not going to be able to get onto the point in time. The Archangel going the way of a solid school. And now Final Strike lands on 2-3. D-Shield going to get used as well. Revolving sweep onto a 0, but Shoopuf with the Carnage going to get interrupted, going to get stunned halfway through. As Huge Slot starting at super low, but will be able to jump away with the Dwarf Toss just in time. And Misha perfectly positioned to prevent Shoopuf from following out. But the camps in the bot side will take the bot lane keep of a solid school. So because of that, potential Scrim Thursday, despite everything, they'll still be able to run in and take this Bruiser camp. And just absolute chaos on the map right now. Now the real question is, how much value will this Archangel be able to bring for a solid school? It does seem like a decent amount of damage will be dealt onto this fort. But the question is, will they be able to finish it off in its entirety? I'm going to guess no. With J-Kosh-Lu and Shoopuf here as well, they should be able to just clear this Archangel before it does matter. But now they are going to be fighting for this next beacon. Half a level lead only for potential Scrim Thursday, and they're only level 14. So it'll be a while until they have that talent advantage. As now C10 taking a lot of DPS. Huge Slot is as well. The Diablo definitely on the losing trade of that. Misha also in the bad spot. Will get finished off, but traded for the Diablo. Jägermeister needs to run away as well. Trying to heal up, will dodge away on that Stormbolt. Now, in the meanwhile, a little bit of posturing happening on that map. Jägermeister will get finished off, but J-Kosh-Lu is still here, just trying to prevent anyone from resetting. Mundane Zebra will be able to get back home in time. There is a bit of a wave shoving into the bot side, but the shield is still up, so no permanent core damage will come through from this play. That was a 2-0 for a solid school, and being able to win that fight really helped out a lot. As now Shoopuf could be in danger. Huge Slot is in the area, going to try to land that Stormbolt. It will be able to land it, and in fact, the revolving sweep not going to be available either, so Shoopuf just immediately going to go down afterwards, and now they can just force down this top lane forward. They have perfect positioning for it, but Mundane Zebra could be traded out in the back line. Will get stunned up by C10. Computex is dealing damage over top. Lightning Breath going to get used for it. As Mundane Zebra, one more grenade from J-Kosh-Lu, will be able to net them that kill. But now they still need to be worried because potential Scrim Thursday, they're still ready to fight, and now they have the light bomb hitting on 2 in the backline. D-Shield already going to get used on a Computex. Azuriel starting at pretty low, and Computex will be able to get that kill. Uses the X-Strike for that extra defensive capability, and now Riptire just onto the Cure. The Cure is starting at so low, trying to run away. But now Shoopuf is here and is mounted up, so should be able to join in. Just needs one Carnage, and that's all that's needed. Now Computex still DPSing onto Jazz and onto Huge Slot, dealing so much damage. Jazz actually going in, and will get immediately taken right back out. It is another 3-0 in favor of potential Scrim Thursday this time. They're going to retake this siege camp. They have control of both these beacons, and now they're going to have another wave of Zerg pushing in from the top side. The final keep that is still standing for a solid school. And I think once the Zerg comes in, they're not going to stand a chance. They will definitely have an opportunity to prevent the game from ending, but this keep is going to be very hard to keep alive. And in the meanwhile, Potential Scrim Thursday, they're just going to clear out both these camps on their left side. Jaeger and Jägermeister, they're in position to push with the camp. Computex, the only one that is somewhat behind on the tempo, but that's going to get that siege camp in the bot side. So if a Solid School spend too much time in the top, they're going to lose out as well, as Misha walking into the Zerg, just immediately going to get removed. 20 seconds on the Bear. And now the big push happening over into this top side. So much damage onto this keep, and they're not even able to clear out the Ultralisks completely before this goes down. Shupov gonna be able to get the revolving sweep, finding Huge Slot Carnage onto the backline as well. Light Bomb will land on it too, but the cleanse from Shupov is available. Hand of Justice onto Huge Slot. Riptire going to get taken down. As Computex just trying to DPS onto the backline, has a D-Shield over top. X-Strike going to find Misha as Huge Slot able to get back to safety. Now Jazz with the revolving sweep gets hit right back. And Potential Scrim Thursday, they have the Zerg, they have Mundane Zebra, and they have game number 2. And now this time around, there was no close game. Potential Scrim Thursday, they took the lead early and they took it handedly. Just consistently fighting, consistently catching out Mundane Zebra in the offlane. Computex just able to run in and consistently get those kills. And I think that's the difficulty of letting that Genji through. That's the power of this Genji, just constantly able to run around the map, make plays happen. 6 kills, 5 assists, was part of 11 of the 13 kills. More kill participation than anyone else in this game. Incredibly well, that's not entirely true. Jazz and Huge Slot have 100% kill participation, but I mean, I would take 11 out of 13 over 7 over 7, you know? But either way, huge game played for Potential Scrim Thursday. Huge win for them. And now, once again, they are 2-0. They're yet to drop a playoff match, and they're on match point of being your Season 19 Heroic Division champions. And we'll find out soon enough if they're going to be able to win it out. But we're going to first go to a short break, and when we come back, it'll be game number 3. Don't go anywhere. And we are here for game number 3, and this time we're going to Volskaya Foundry. A map that we don't see too often, I'll be honest. Just throughout the season, I haven't had the pleasure of having too many games here. And I think a large part of that is the Protector itself does take an incredibly long time to be able to lock in, to be able to control that point. But either way, we are here. It is game 3, Potential Scrim Thursday versus a Solid School. 2-0 lead for Potential Scrim Thursday so far. And if they're able to win this, they're just going to be flat out the champions of NGS Season 19 Heroic Division. And this is the top division we have in North America. This is the top league we have in North America. So both of these two teams, they're really playing to show who is the current top team in North America. But the bans have already started coming through. It is going to be the Joanna once again for Potential Scrim Thursday. Vala and Hogger banned away from a Solid School. And still, they're not going to be swapping anyone in or out. Potential Scrim Thursday, they're going to be holding on to the same roster they had in games 1 and 2. And again, you can't really blame them. They've been playing exceedingly well. Map number 1, they definitely fell behind early, and their team composition was just a lot worse at DPSing onto the Immortal. But once they got scaled, once they got online, they were just able to absolutely win out those team fights. They won 3 or 4 in a row to be able to get that comeback on Battlefield of Eternity. As we see in Alex Straza getting banned away by a Potential Scrim Thursday. Now, I don't even think I've casted a single Alex Straza game this entire season, if I can be completely honest. I know they've happened. I've definitely seen it on some other streams, but it's not a hero I see picked too often. What is interesting is the Solid School. This time, they're going to be the ones to take away the Uther, as that is going to be the cure. Locking in the Uther. Now I'm wondering if they're going to try to go for that double heal composition, because obviously Uther's kind of the core of being able to do that. You can definitely run it with 2 backline healers, but having someone that also brings a lot of crowd control, someone that can also kind of engage, frontline, block away all the other members, it definitely helps out a lot. But the rest of the draft starting to go pretty quickly. Imperious locked in once again for Jacob Shlu, and the Medivh for C10 for HD1. As the Zero going to lock in the Grey Main and huge slot once again on the Garrosh. So they have a lot of damage and a lot of lockdown already for a Solid School. But Potential Scrim Thursday, I'm curious to see where they're going to go with the rest of this composition. Medivh obviously is very good at setting up plays later on to the game once that Arcane Rift is completed. Is a very solid DPS as well, but does need those stacks, does need to get that extra cooldown reduction. As they're going to ban away the Vikings. Now, I believe Jacob Shlu is the Vikings player for Potential Scrim Thursday. They have played a decent chunk of it in the past, and I've also seen it banned against them quite a few times in the past as well. But either way, Sergeant Hammer also going to get banned by Potential Scrim Thursday, and they lock in the Tyrande for Jägermeister. Very interesting. Now, Jaeger isn't a player that I typically see main healing. I was surprised enough when they were main healing on that Uther, but on the Tyrande as well. That's going to be very, very new for me from what I've seen. But again, most of these players, they can play every role, they can play every position, and a lot of them can play every hero. But the question is, who is best at the hero that they want? And it looks like this time around, it looks like Jägermeister is going to be the best choice for the Tyrande. But now Jazz going to lock in the Falstad and Mundane Zebra on the Yrel. So they have a very solid triple frontline composition. Yrel, Garrosh, and Uther are very tanky. It is going to be solo heal Uther, so not going to be quite as tanky as usual. Not going to want to stand in the front line like they do sometimes. And then meanwhile, it is going to be the Stitches. Final pick for Shupa. That's going to be very interesting to me because Garrosh and Yrel both are very difficult to hook in. Garrosh can immediately make a play after that, depending on the setup. However, with Leyline Seal coming in from C10 for HD1, it could definitely change the dynamic of hooking in a tank. It could even end up being a positive. But either way, the drafts are done, and it's time for game number 3. All right, And here we are, game number 3 between Potential Scrim Thursday and a solid school. Winner, if Potential Scrim Thursday are able to win here, they are going to be able to just flat out win NGS Heroic Div. They just need one more. They have 3 attempts at it. But meanwhile, a solid school, they're going to try to get that reverse sweep. They're going to try to make Potential Scrim Thursday work for it. And Potential Scrim Thursday, as I've been saying their name a lot, if they're able to win this, they will have gone undefeated in the playoffs in order to win this championship. And that would be an amazing storyline to have. But now Mundane Zebra just going to put down a little spray in the mid lane. But we'll take a decent amount of damage as actually J-Kosh Lu just going to get absolutely deleted in the backline. Mundane Zebra is going to get stunned up. Starting to get pretty low as well. But the healing is going to come out from the cure. And Huge Slot going to be able to use it into the fray to throw Mundane Zebra back to safety. But immediately back in the front line. And now the main thing we're looking at. There's a lot of stacking quests. We have Frequent Flyer, Wave of Light, Simple Geometry, and Arcane Rift. But Arcane Rift, definitely the most important one. If that hits 40, that's when C10 for HD1 is going to be online as a DPS. But if they go down before then, they lose every single stack. So that's why it's very important. You want to keep your Medivh safe, but at the same time, Medivh wants to be that playmaker. As now Huge Slot looking for J-Kosh Lu, but will be safe as now they're even going to be hooked right back in with. But the healing is just too strong. J-Kosh Lu trying to survive is getting protected. And C10 is there in time. And in fact, they're going to be able to take down Huge Slot, but traded for your Medivh. That's going to be all the Arcane Rift stacks gone right now. Now, it is still early on in the game. It doesn't hurt as much to lose them when you only had 3 or 4. But that is still going to delay that power spike. And now Shupa pushing into the mid lane as both teams are collecting their turrets over in the bot side of their jungle. And Jazz taking a decent amount of damage. And like I said, it is the Frequent Flyer build. So this is going to be that auto attack fall stat. It is going to scale quite a bit into that late game, going to have that consistent damage. And I'm wondering if part of it is just because they want someone to be able to get a % HP talent. As C10 looking for Jazz. Not going to be able to get too much DPS there. And will just transform back into a bird and just fly around and kind of watch what the team is doing. The top lane is already pushed in for PST. But the siege camp has already been started and completed by Solid School. So they are going to be first to that play. J-Kosh actually hiding in a pretty aggressive angle. But there's no one there to kind of fight for. So unfortunately not going to be able to find that pick that they were looking for as Huge Slot able to throw back Shoop-Up, but now the protection is going to be there. C10 for HD1 just trying to buy some space, and Shoop-Up will be able to just jump right back into the team as now C10 could be the one in a bad spot, and the portals have expired. And Righteous Hammer going to knock C10 back into the wall, and that's going to be another kill going the way of a Solid School. And again, those Arcane Rifts have been reset. And again, it wasn't that many stacks yet, but at this point, 3 minutes in and having 0 stacks, it is going to get difficult. It's going to take more and more time to get that extra cooldown reduction. And does it also give damage? Yes, it is also going to increase damage by 75. I mean, all of that, especially in those team fights, it really adds up. It's a 5-second cooldown. That's a 20% DPS increase just from the cooldown alone. So just in case anyone's wondering why I put so much emphasis on that, it's a massive, massive buff of damage for C10. But now Jazz and Azuriel, they are watching for this Medivh. A couple of Arcane Rifts have already landed, so already 2 stacks back. Needs another 38 without going down though, and that's where the difficulty does lay. Now Shoop-Up trying to contest onto this point, but Huge Slot's not giving it up quite yet. And now is unstoppable, not going to get hit by anything else, but the Wrecking Ball not going to land as well. Shoop-Up actually going to be thrown into the back line, but will be okay. Potential Scrim Thursday, they will be able to retake control of this point, but Mundane Zebra split pushing in the bot side, going to be able to finish off that cannon tower and the gate. But now Jazz, in the meanwhile, just going to get absolutely deleted. Computex and J-Kosh Lu just have more than enough damage to get that done. As now they're looking for Azuriel as well. They're all climbing through the portal, but they're not able to find the angle. Now the gate is down. So J-Kosh Lu just going to be able to walk it out. And that's going to be a decent amount of damage dealt over to this fort as well. Already down about 20%. The siege camp just helping them with that DPS as well. Now C10 going to get thrown into the back line. And again, 7 stacks gone Computex starting at low as well, and Jazz will dive in, looking for that extra auto, but not going to be able to find it. Now, Mundane Zebra still looking for Computex. The Iron Hook is going to be there, and Computex will be able to run it out as Mundane Zebra will be the one going down instead. Jaykosh Lu does go down off screen at the same time. So it is 5-3 the kill score in favor of a Solid School, as they're also in a very solid position to retake onto this point. As Computex gets thrown to the backline, the Cure going to be able to land the Hand of Justice. Jazz just trying to DPS with those autos, but the Protector will go the way of a Solid School. But now one thing to note is that you do get Arcane Rift stacks for hitting the Protector, for hitting anything that is being piloted by someone. But now C10, they're aiming for the backline instead. This mid lane wall will get deleted, but right now the HP bar is starting to get low as well, down to 20% left. Just needs a couple more hits, and in fact, Azuriel could be in a pretty bad spot after that. But Into the Fray is going to be used defensively. But C10 and everyone going through the portal, huge slot, going to be the target instead. That is going to be a kill. Jazz just trying to DPS on Computex as hard as possible. Arcane Rifts still going to be there, but the Gus, the level 10s are available. The Cure only going to be able to get on a shoot up as C10 trying to run away. 200 HP. Jazz going to be the next target, and they have the Gorge Dragon Arrow. Not going to be needed. They've already taken down Jazz, and the Cure stuck in the middle of everyone. Mundane Zebra is going to be here as well, but they have the Celestial Charge on it too. Ardent Defender is going to get popped. Is going to buy a little bit of time, but Wrath of the Angears has been used. And now Mundane Zebra with the Righteous Hammer stuns up 3, but there's just nowhere left to go. Massive, massive team fight goes the way of potential Scrim Thursday. Just absolutely dominating in that team fight. And with that, they're going to be able to take this top fort, or at least I suspect. But now C10 could be in a dangerous spot. Going to get the Warlord's challenge, and the hook not going to land. And C10 could be in a terrible spot. Leyline Seal does buy some time, and with the portal, will be able to get away and protect those 9 Arcane Rift stacks. There's now a huge slot looking for the Wrecking Ball in the front line. Shootpuff starting to get pretty low as well. Unstoppable gonna get used. And Shootpuff doesn't really have a way of getting over the wall. In fact, the Gust going to interrupt Computex. The portal is there. Can they get through it? Computex will. And Shootpuff just going to walk it out. Somehow, none of them go down on their way back. They will all be forced to reset. So Solid School will have priority on the map for a little bit. But, I mean, they definitely wanted those kills. Almost a full level lead now for potential Scrim Thursday. And now with that, Mundane Zebra is just going to be collecting this bot side. As the Solid School, they're going to collect their siege camp. Both sides finally going to take a little bit of a break from fighting, at least for a little while, as that was a lot of back and forth ever since the Protectors spawned. Both sides just non-stop brawling from that point on. The Mundane Zebra gonna jump in. Jaykosh Lu actually gonna look to trade back a little bit, and we'll bring Mundane Zebra down to about half HP. Now Jaykosh Lu still in the area. Jägermeister's going to be there. They're going to be able to get Lunar Flare. And they have their front line super low. Now the teleports are going to be coming through. Wrath of the Angears is available, but Dragon Arrow lands on 2-3. And now they have the Warlord challenge. Huge slot starting to get low. And the Starfall brings more than enough DPS. And now the Guz going to bring Computex and Jaykosh Lu to the backline. Computex is going to be the one to go down. But in the meanwhile, the Cure gets taken down by the turret. So it is still 3 versus 2 in favor of potential Scrim Thursday. Jaykosh Lu trying to stay alive. Azuriel trying to DPS, but the damage just isn't there. This Celestial Charge will land, and now it's Mundane Zebra, who also gets hit by the Lunar Flare. Jägermeister just trying to DPS over through the backline, and with 1 extra stun, 1 more Celestial Charge, potential Scrim Thursday, they win the team fight 5-4-2, but they lost C10, and because of that, once again, those Arcane Rifts are at 0. They do have the advantage right now. They do have the extra talent, but level 13 is on the horizon for a Solid School, and this objective takes way too long to try and really get a major advantage out of it. Instead, Shootpuff just going to brute force this top lane fort. So now they have that passive push for them in the top side. Potential Scrim Thursday, they're in a good spot for it, because they're also able to take away their own siege camp. And now C10 just kind of scouting everyone in bird form, trying to keep track of the team. The Solid School almost lands the hook. A huge slot could have been in a very bad spot there, but will be fine. The level 13 has come through, and instead they're gonna Gorge. onto huge slot, but with the gust, they're not going to be able to get through the portal. They will be able to now, as C10 gets thrown into the back line. The protect is already gone. Dragon Arrow lands onto 3. They do land the hook back onto the slot, and they will get 2 back. The cure's already gone, and Azuriel in the middle of everyone does have the D shield, but Shoopuf is here, and they're going to defend onto it. Jazz going down in the meanwhile to Jaykoshlu, and now they're chasing onto Azuriel, the final DPS that is still remaining, and the Celestial Charge will add 1 more autos, all that's needed. Mundane Zebra, the last survivor, 4 for 1. They get rid of those Arcane Rift stacks once again, but the support value of the Medivh is still there, and they're still getting a lot of value from this. And clearly right now, they just don't need the damage. They're just able to win the fights anyway. Now Computex and Jägermeister, they're going to retake this Biotic Emitter. They're going to have that for their next team fight. As Jaykoshlu still going to be trying to fight a little bit with Mundane Zebra. Righteous Hammer, going to hit him into the wall. But again, that HP bar is going down pretty significantly for Mundane Zebra. 1 trade pattern. And Jaykoshlu gets a ton of damage onto Mundane Zebra. Will be forced to tap because of it. Now Computex just sitting in the top side, mounted up, trying to get some time on this protector. Already at 25%. As Mundane Zebra and C10, they're both just starting to get those sprays going. And now the hook is going to land. And Mundane Zebra, the Gorge is used. Do they have the damage for this? They have the teleport, but it might not be enough. The Sentinel is going to land. And Mundane Zebra is going to be the target for now. As meanwhile, in the top side of Solid School, they're going to retake onto it instead. And Mundane Zebra, gonna dodge away the Celestial Charge, but there's really nowhere to go. Ardent Defender is gonna get used and just buying a lot of time, but time matters to some extent, but what can they get out otherwise? They got some time onto this protector, they got some onto the point, but what's really mattered here is they're able to take this top lane fort. They're going to be able to close that back in their favor, but now they are starting to get quite low. Jazz still standing in the front line, taking so much burst from Computex, and the rest of Potential Scrim Thursday, they are here now. The Dragon Arrow lands on 2-3. Do they have the follow? The Cure immediately going to get finished off, and now the Teleports is here as well. They're able to take down 2. They're able to take down everyone. It's a 5-for-0 delayed kills, all going towards Potential Scrim Thursday. 5-0 is the trade. Now, they do need to get something back for themselves, and it looks like they're aiming towards this top lane wall. But it's going to be a little bit difficult for them, because right now they don't have a wave, and there is a siege camp pushing back into them. So they will be able to take a little bit of damage onto these structures, but that's all they're going to be able to do. They're not going to be able to start threatening the keep or anything. And that's where stuff really starts getting a little bit harder for a Solid School. Losing that fight is a massive discrepancy that's happening here. It's already almost a full 3-level lead for Potential Scrim Thursday. And now they're going to be able to finish off this top lane wall as well. And the protectors here, they could go for the mid fort. I think they could even look to take that mid lane, that top lane keep if they really wanted to. As now C10 could be the target once again. Jazz is there with the slow. Leyline Seal going to get burned, and they actually find 3. Now the teleport is going to be there in the back line, but they're still just focusing onto this mid lane fort. The Warlord's Challenge is going to be there, only able to find onto Jaykoshlu, as now the protection is going to be there, and Jaykoshlu looking for the back line. Instead, they're able to take down Jazz. And now it's going to be Mundane Zebra just trying to stand in the front line as C10 gets thrown behind enemy lines. And C10 going to get deleted there. But the Cure, in the meanwhile, with the Wrath of the Angier, is going to die upon the landing. And that's the mid lane fort. And now they're aiming for that mid lane keep. Mundane Zebra is still sitting in the back line just trying to clear the wave. But it's difficult. The Ardent Defender is going to get forced out. And that's a very long cooldown, 115 seconds after it expires. That's almost 2 full minutes. And now Huge Slot taking a decent amount of damage as well. Will be able to go unstoppable for the Celestial Charge, but just a few more autos needed. And they do have level 20 advantage. Jaykoshlu just kind of diving so far in. As Zero looking to trade as well. And now Jägermeister will help with the DPS. And they're just going to be able to take out the Zuriel. Potential Scrim Thursday, they're just in such a solid spot. Mundane Zebra just pushing in through the bot side now. And they lose their top lane keep as well. Potential Scrim Thursday, they're doing an incredible job getting this lead. They have both keeps in the top side and in the mid lane. And now all that's left is pushing in through the bot side. Mundane Zebra still sitting, still looking to try and take this fort in the bot side. Will be able to succeed, but Jaykoshlu just immediately going to be able to trade it right back. Now, in the meanwhile, Fortification Camp is going to get stolen by a potential Scrim Thursday. And because of the pressure they're having from their other ways, because of the level 20s, and because of the numbers disadvantage, they could just look for more. They were looking for the hook onto Jazz. But unfortunately, it's not going to be able to land. At least not yet. The teleport going to get used. They're going to gorge up their main tank. And now Leyline Seal into the backline. Not going to be able to find anyone, but huge slot already taking out super low. Jake Oshlu, but the D-Shield is their Dragon Arrow. Going to go right through huge slot, unfortunately. Not going to be able to land, but the hook. Huge slot again, just sitting in the back line. Going to get taken down. Now Jazz does get hit by the Celestial Charge on the front line. Jazz going to get stunned up and will get taken down. And I think this is it. Potential Scrim Thursday. Undefeated in the playoffs. Are you kidding me? 12-0. Going from the quarterfinals to the semifinals to the grand finals, as they're looking to end the series here and now. And now they're just having fun in the back line. Leyline Seal lands on to 3. And now Celestial Charge slightly missed time. Not going to be able to land the stun. Not going to be able to get the kills. But they are going to get the 3-0. And potential Scrim Thursday. They're your Season 19 NGS Heroic Champions. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I knew this team was strong. I knew they were mechanically gifted. I would never have guessed that they're a 12-0 team to go through the playoffs, not dropping a single map. That is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I'm actually a little bit speechless here. They played extremely well in games 2 and 3. Game number 1, a solid school gave them a solid run for their money, but after that, they just had their number. They were just able to play faster. They took a few sloppy fights for sure, but that's what they're used to. That is their style. And the pace at which they play is just so hard for teams to follow. Now give me one moment as I do try to get an interview set up, but I mean, I'm still flabbergasted. I have no idea how well this went, or how it went exactly as well as it did. Pretty good. How are you, Mundane Zebra? Yeah, congratulations. I mean, it was a big 3-0 win. Undefeated throughout all of playoffs, 12-0. I mean, how does it feel? Yes, you did. Nope, I am. Very good math. I was just testing you. Definitely. Yeah, and now everyone else from Potential Scrim Thursday is starting to join in as well. We have Computex and Shupov joining us. And I already asked your press secretary this question, but gonna ask you as well. You went undefeated in the playoffs. How does it feel?
Here to show everybody that we're the best team, so that's all.
Whoops, sorry. As it turns out, I had you guys muted from the start there, but you're online now. That is my mistake, but again,
makes sense. These guys are toxic fucks. I would mute them too.
Please try and keep the language civil over on this, since we are on the official NGS channel today. But either way, I mean, who did you think was the biggest challenge so far during the playoffs? I mean, you 3-0'd every single team you faced, but was there anyone that really stuck out to you?
Boomer Gaming.
I think all the teams were good. They're just good in different ways.
We definitely couldn't just walk in and win against any of the teams for sure.
Now, especially in this third series, I mean, you did play 2 series today. Computex and Shupov, you were 2 of the 3 players that played in all 6 matches today. But what went into deciding the lineup for both of these 2 series? Why did you choose those specific 5 players for each series?
The finals, we actually let our 2 bench players come in, and 2 of us stepped up. Just so they could get a chance to actually play.
We knew it was going to be easy, because that team is like complete garbage. So.
And again, just going on to that final map especially, it seemed that the more you played today, the more one-sided the matches became. I mean, game number 1, you barely managed to pull that win out. You were super behind for most of the game until you're able to chain together. I think it was 3 or 4 team fights in order to be able to take that win. Now, what do you think caused that struggle to begin with, and what do you think let you turn it around?
I think we were more early, really bad early at the whole team. We scaled much better with talents near the end of the game. I think we like at level 20, we just couldn't lose a team fight at all.
Yeah, especially Garrosh, because he kind of falls off later in the game. He's really oppressive in the beginning, and then he just gets worse as it goes on, especially once we get percent damage
Like
and stuff.
at level 16, I had 2 pulls for Garrosh, and at the very last fight, I didn't have to use either.
Now, and then going on with that as well, you said in the late game, that's when you really started to be able to turn the games around. But even with that, even being stronger with fighting, your lanes were still getting shoved in, top side, bot side. Both of your keeps, I think, were barely standing, about 200 HP in the bot lane one, 300 HP in the top lane one. Did that give a lot of pressure to your team to try and fight early and fast?
We definitely were playing on the defensive, but a lot of the time too, we could kind of clean up waves while posturing on the defense for the OBJ, so it wasn't too bad for the most part, even when it looked pretty dire.
All right, but now usually this is for the playoffs. This is when I've been asking about the next series going forward, what your plans are. But instead, I'm going to ask about what are your plans for season 20?
Run it back.
I'll run it back, I guess, yeah.
So potential Scrim Thursday, you're a team that we can expect to see once again in the heroic division.
Yeah, but probably a different name.
All right.
Yes, most likely a more cursed name.
I'm sure. I have no doubt that is going to come out from this squad. And I think the other question that I have is about the roster for it. Now, again, you do have 9 players on your roster. Do you think there's a chance you will split it off at all? Or do you think you're still going to run back just 9 players? You want that full flexibility?
I don't think we could run a team without all 9 of these players.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I have noticed I think I cast about half your series this entire season. And you definitely, I'm not even sure if you played the same 5 players for every single one. If there was like a core 5 group at all.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But now with that, my final question to you. You have the stage as the champions of NGS Season 19 Heroic. Do you have any final words to say? Any final shout outs you want to give?
Big shout out to Zebra, our press manager. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for doing what you do.
Hey, no problem. Just gonna leave it off with this. Big shout out to DH Bob. I just can't believe, a small kid from Kansas could make it this far. So proud of you, buddy.
I could give a shout out to my gooses, my friend Goat.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming for this interview, and congrats again going undefeated in the playoffs. Absolutely wild ride. I had a lot of fun casting all your games this entire season, so thank you for really bringing the entertainment for on behalf of all of the chat here. Thanks for all the games that you've brought.
So much
You're
fun.
welcome.
Yep, with that,
Thank you.
you all have a good night and hope to see you next season. Bye-bye now.
GG.
And with that, we are going to be done here. And once again, this was the last game of NGS Season 19. We are done here. Now, as Hoku mentioned earlier in the chat, the next season, I believe start date is August 11th. Now, if you're new here, if you don't know what NGS is, it is an amateur league for all levels. You could be top tier players like we saw today with Potential Scrim Thursday and a solid school. You could be bronze 5, 0 points. It doesn't matter. If you want to play competitive, you want to play in a controlled environment, join NGS, make a team, find a team. We got it all. Everyone will be very happy to help you if you're new and get lost as well. So be sure to check it out. Join the Discord or check out nexusgamingseries.org. I was Tokibi. I'm glad to have been able to bring all these games this season, and as I'm sure will be no surprise to any of you, I am sure to bring out a lot more games next season. And if you hit the exclamation casters command in the chat, there's still a lot of replays that have gone uncast, and I will definitely start going through them in this coming week. So there's still going to be some NGS action, just no more live NGS action coming out. But thank you all for watching, and I guess I'll see you when I see you. Y'all have yourselves a great night.